Pepperdine University is now 74 years old, and that's relatively young as you count the ages of institutions of higher learning. And yet we count with pride more than 90,000 alumni who live and serve and work around the world. Today's graduates will join this privileged company of alumni who share the same traditions of excellence, rooted in the lasting values articulated by our founder, Mr. Pepperdine, and our benefactor, Mr. Graziadio. Among the traditions of this day is the recognition of distinguished graduates who have brought honor to alma mater through their singular professional achievements. In keeping with this tradition, we have invited an esteemed graduate to share this day with us. Let me invite to the podium the president of our university, Andrew K. Benton, and Mrs. Faye W. McClure. Mrs. McClure is Vice President of Strategic Marketing for Farmers Insurance, a member of the Graziadio Board of Visitors, and a graduate of Pepperdine University Seaver College. She will summarize the career and the achievements of our honoree. Please welcome these persons to our podium.
Good morning, and congratulations to all of today's graduates. President Benton, today it is my distinct honor to present an entrepreneur, a healer of cities, an internationalist, a philanthropist, and a great patron of history and the arts. A man who is said to have lived many lives in one, Dr. Bernard W. Kinsey, has been hailed as an aggressive achiever by the New York Times. He is the founder and president of KBK Enterprises, a management consulting firm whose projects range from advising the Los Angeles Police Department and the DWP to the corporate mergers of SBC and Union Bank to negotiating multi-billion-dollar waterfront projects in Florida. After the great Los Angeles civil unrest of 1992, Dr. Kinsey was called upon to lead the revitalization of the inner city through his co-chairmanship of Rebuild Los Angeles, where he generated more than $380 million in investments from the private sector. The New York Times said of him, and I quote, "Today there's little evidence of the riot, a testament to Kinsey's leadership," end quote. Dr. Kinsey was an agent of social change during his 20-year career with Xerox Corporation, where he was one of the youngest vice presidents in Xerox history in 1980. He led the Xerox Black Employees Association and was responsible for the national hiring of over 14,000 minorities and females. Today, Xerox is the only Fortune 500 company with a Black female CEO. That's right. A widely recognized expert in urban revitalization and market development, he has advised foreign governments and has been an on-air commentator for the NBC Nightly News, CNBC News, and NPR. He has been a guest columnist for the New York Times and was the dean of This Week in Review. Dr. Kinsey recently led a delegation of 35 students from Crenshaw High School to Beijing and Shanghai, where he conducted a master's class at Renmin University on African American art and history from the Kinsey Collection. Dr. Kinsey is a generous philanthropist, managing with his wife Shirley the Bernard and Shirley Kinsey Foundation for the Arts and Education. They have raised millions of dollars in support of numerous causes, including their undergraduate alma mater, Florida A&M University, and have provided college scholarships to over 300 students. They are also the proud parents of son Khalil. President Benton, it is truly my honor and privilege to present my mentor, my friend, Dr. Bernard W. Kinsey, for the August 2011 Distinguished Alumnus Award of the Graziadio School of Business and Management.
Thank you, Faye. First of all, I should just sit down and just let that be. I'm always a little embarrassed by these introductions, but without them, you don't know who's talking to you. So you almost have to do it, I guess, is part of it. To President Andrew Benton, Dean Linda Livingstone, right here, Kay Rosen, April Spurlock, to all of our dais, to the graduating class, to the parents and friends of the graduates. It is indeed an honor for me to be here today to receive the Distinguished Alumni Award. Nearly 40 years ago, I had the distinct privilege to sit in the places that you're sitting right now. And I sat there in those seats with excitement, anticipation, and anxiety, because I didn't know what the future may hold for my family and me. I can say to you that the MBA that you all are receiving from Pepperdine today not only changed my life, but it'll change your life in a positive way. I was able to take what Pepperdine gave me and provide the construct to be able to manage inside of Xerox. I think from the time I got an MBA to the time I made vice president was 7 years, which was kind of unheard of back in the day. Those of you that know me know that the best part of my day is my wife of 44 years, Shirley Pula Kinsey. I want everybody to see Shirley right now. And she is also a Pepperdine graduate, so let's give her another round of applause. Okay. I'm going to give you a few jewels here, and hopefully this will help you with moving out. You need three things for a successful life. One, something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. And in 1982, Shirley and I were in Kathmandu, Nepal, and a Buddhist priest said that to us, and it struck me. But I'm going to say it to you again. Something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. I'm fortunate that Shirley fulfills all three of those for me. And I tell you, if you're lucky, you're going to get a partner that does that for you. Shirley and I live our lives on two simple principles: to whom much is given, much is required, and a life of no regret. People really don't care how much you know until they know that you care. And I always say that there are three types of people that make up this world. The person who goes to the office and dreams for 12 hours, and there are a lot of people like that. There are other people that arrive at the office at 5 o'clock in the morning and work 16 hours a day and never dream. I want you to be in the third category. The third category, you go and dream for an hour and spend the rest of your day working on making your dreams come true, because that is the only way you're going to accomplish it. The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but a life without purpose and vision. I'm going to say that again. The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but a life without purpose and vision. The greatest treasures in the world are not the companies that make up the New York Stock Exchange or the oil wells in the Middle East, but the cemeteries all over the world because of lost potential. You hear what I just said? You do not want to come back here in 40 years and not do the things that you said you were going to do with your life, which means you got to be purposeful today doing those. We will never be able to recover the time wasted. Time is worth an eternity. I repeat, the greatest tragedy in life is wasted time and wasted potential. For in the cemetery is where all the hopes, dreams, goals, aspirations, music, art, inventions are lost forever. I'll say that again. For in the cemetery is where all the hopes, dreams, goals, aspirations, music, art, inventions are lost forever. People simply died pregnant. They died pregnant. The only thing in life worse than death is a life without purpose. It's like the story of the chicken and the eagle. There was an eagle that lost an egg one day, and fate would have it the tiny eagle egg was found by a hen. As all mothers do, the hen was no different. She took the egg home to the chicken coop and sat on it with all the loving patience of an incipient mother. A few weeks later, the egg was hatched. Out stepped a tiny eagle. The tiny bird had an eagle history, eagle genes, eagle DNA, eagle chromosomes, eagle power, and eagle potential. But because it grew up in chicken surroundings, born into a chicken environment, it grew up thinking it was a chicken. In fact, it was even made to feel ashamed of its eagle features. You see, even though he didn't know who he was, the chickens in the barnyard knew exactly who he was. And they said to each other, we got to keep this little bird thinking that he's a chicken. Because if he ever finds out that he's an eagle, one day he will rule over us. As a result, the little bird became ashamed of his eagle heritage and eagle features. The other birds made fun of his mighty eagle beak because they had little, thin, narrow, weak chicken beaks. They made fun of his mighty eagle talons because they had little, weak, scrawny chicken feet. And he even became ashamed of the darkness and beauty and the rich heritage of his eagle feathers. And at one point in his life, he considered cosmetic surgery. Yes, he did. He thought about cutting off half of his eagle beak and thought about dyeing his dark eagle feathers so he could look more like the chickens. Ironically, the greatest ambition in his life was to one day hop, skip, and jump on the fence post and cock-a-doodle-doo like the rooster. But one day this confused bird looked up higher than the barnyard. All of a sudden, he gazed upward and saw the deep, dark contours of a mighty shadow across the ground, like some great ship navigating the watery bosom of yonder ocean. For the first time in his life, this little lost bird looked up higher than the tree post, higher than the tree line. He saw the remarkable sight of an adult eagle in full flight with all of the majesty, grace, and power. That's you. Sure enough, that little lost bird was blown away. He said to himself in so many words, wow, I sure wish I could fly like that. The adult eagle perceived his dilemma and flew down from the stratospheric heights and said to the confused bird, boy, you ain't no chicken. You're an eagle. Your mighty talons were not meant to rake and scrape on the ground for worms and caterpillars, but to snatch the craggy sides of yonder mountain of achievement. He said, boy, you ain't no chicken, you're an eagle. Your eagle eye was not meant to be limited to the narrow confines of the barnyard, but to seek out the distant horizon of your unfulfilled potential and spread your wings as you catch the lofty winds of your immeasurable genius. This is my message to you. None of you all are chickens. So I don't care what you've done up to this point in your life. I don't care if you've had chicken parents. Some of you may have. I don't care if you've had chicken teachers or chicken assignment. If you got a chicken job and report to some chicken supervisor. And probably some of you do. Don't think chicken thoughts and don't dream chicken dreams, because you all are all eagles. All right. Okay. Here's a question. What is it only that I can do with my talents and skills? I'm going to repeat that. What is it only that I can do with my talents and skill? And that's the big question that everybody in this audience has to answer. And I don't care how old you are, we're always wrestling with that. Think about your life like a company thinks about its business, and be purposeful every day. What is your brand going to be? Think about your brand. Think about who you are and how you're going to project that into your life. Develop long and short-term mission statements and goals. Develop your unique brand, your image, your assets, your partnership, and communication plan. Make sure you have good friends, and most important, have a good partner. Having a good partner is probably one of the most important things that you can do in this life. And I tell people all the time, you can be unhappy by yourself. So make sure you select properly. And here's another thing. There has never been an advantage of being a minority. I don't even use the word. There's never been an advantage for 35, 40 years, affirmative action always work on merit, meritocracy, winning, beating that other person. That's the only thing that matters in this country. Remember, failure is a 4-lane highway and success is under construction. There's a saying, if it were easy, everyone would do it, okay? And that's why it's so hard to get to where you want to go in life. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. You got to be willing to sacrifice to get to where you want to get. Here's some simple thoughts as I close. Some things that have worked for me. Never accept no from someone that cannot say yes. Think about it. Never accept no from someone that cannot say yes. If you're trying to get to the decision maker and you let an assistant or a secretary or whatever keep you from them, shame on you. You got to get around them, through them, over them, some kind of way to get your message done. Learn the art of negotiating, because you are negotiating every time you open your mouth, whether you know it or not. Hear what I said? You're negotiating. Nothing happens until something is sold. Do not let someone tell you sales is a bad word. That's the only way this country operates, is somebody buys your idea. Strive to be a 24-hour person. Let me tell you what that means real quickly. If you develop who you are and what you're about, you don't have to figure out who you're going to be every day. You know how much enormous time people spend trying to figure out who they are or who they're going to project their persona to be? When I wake up every day, I wake up as Bernard Kinsey, because I figured it out a long time ago. And I figured out who I wanted to be and how I wanted to be and the world that I wanted to live in. And I constructed that in a way that Shirley and I have developed friendships and people around us that support those values. And if you don't support those values, you're not part of the plan. Simple and simple. Because there's so much toxicity out here with having people around you that will not help you, will keep you from your goal. Okay. And I'm going to wrap it up here. Okay. Teamwork is more important than talent. Now, they used to talk about talent being the most thing. It's not the most thing. You have to work with other people. If you can't figure that out, you're not going to be successful. Because you could de-optimize a group because you don't understand how to work with people. And here's one thing I'm going to leave you with. Do not believe everything you think. You hear what I just said? And I mean that. Do not believe everything you think, because you really don't know where most of this stuff comes from. It's like if I told you to go pick up a sandwich out of the garbage can. You wouldn't do it. But many of us pick up thoughts from people and we don't even challenge them. We just accept them and put them into our vocabulary. I'm saying be more purposeful about who and how you accept other ideas. And here's the closing. If you are successful, you will win false friends and true enemies, but let's be successful anyway. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Let's do good anyway. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable, but let's be honest and frank anyway. And if you do good, people accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives, but let's do what? Good anyway. If the biggest people with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest mind, let's think big anyway. Because people favor underdogs, but they really only follow top dogs. They really do. But let's fight for the underdogs anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight, but let's build anyway. And people need help, but may attack you if you help them. Let's plan on helping them anyway. And when you give the world the best you've got and you get kicked in the teeth, let's give the world the best you've got anyway. And we want to say this. We must continue to remember and respect our heritage by never saying goodbye to yesterday, for we are standing on their shoulders. Yesterday made our present possible. And if you ever see a turtle on a post, he had help. Thank you. All right.